Sell. I love this question. Has Dak Prescott earned the right to have input on personnel decisions?
Absolutely, he's earned the right to have input on personnel decisions. I would like to listen to the leader of the #1 offense in the entire NFL to just see what he thinks and get his perspective about some of the personnel decisions we have to make. Now, remember, input isn't decision-making power. Big difference. Let me take you to the DJ world. When you go past those big soundboards at the festivals, all these monster cables all plugged in, all these different inputs, hundreds, maybe thousands of inputs, right? But if you notice carefully and look at the sound engineer, there's also a button, usually gray, way at the bottom. You know what that button is? Mute. So you can have the input, yeah, but in terms of what is being synthesized, in terms of what Jerry Jones is thinking, Stephen Jones is thinking, Will Clay is thinking, what all the powers are thinking, we have the ability to bring down your gain level, bring down your volume, or even mute you. But yeah, you'll have input. But in terms of decision-making power, that's a little different because we saw Russell Wilson try to have that type of input. We didn't hear anything. They hit the mute button on him, right? Aaron Rodgers, I guess the level was at 2. We got Aaron Rodgers bringing in Randall Cobb. He got his homeboy in there, corn on the cob. But then Tom Brady had that thing maxed out. You saw Tom Brady bring Gronk out of retirement. Leonard Fournette was like, this is why I'm here. AB, hey, that's my dog. That's my brother from another. Then. So I don't see why Dak Prescott is not in position to do just the same thing for his franchise. It's not if Dak has to be better than Tom Brady. Dak is the Tom Brady for the Dallas Cowboys. He's their franchise quarterback. So, yeah, let him plug in. Give him that input. Now we'll check later for the volume level.
I like the take. But no, Dak hasn't earned the right at all to have personnel decisions, at all. Quarterbacks in the NFL that have personnel decisions, it's been Tom Brady, greatest quarterback of all time. He's won a Super Bowl. It's been Aaron Rodgers, most talented quarterback of all time. He's won a Super Bowl. It's been Russell Wilson. He, too, has won a Super Bowl and gone to 9 Pro Bowls in his 10 years as the quarterback. All those fellas have earned the right, and even they did not all get personnel decisions. Brady ain't got personnel decisions in New England. That's why he had to dip. Russ ain't really getting personnel decisions in Seattle. That's why he keeps complaining. And Aaron Rodgers, Lord knows that we know, he did not get personnel decisions. Giving Dak input on the personnel would be the worst thing that the Cowboys could do for the chemistry of the team. I'm going to make it simple in a way that y'all understand because y'all have been there too. There's nothing, Sel, to me more vexing than when somebody continually asks you for advice but never takes it. My brother did that to me. I had to call him out finally.
Sam?
Sam, big bro. Big dog.
Ooh, wet snitch. I thought you were a dry snitch. You wet.
Nah, I'm going to call him out.
Let's hear it.
Because my brother will often ask me for advice. Hey, what do you think I should do about this decision? What do you think I should do about this real estate decision? What do you think I should do about this TV decision? What do you think I should do about this contractual decision? Hey, do this, Sam. Hey, do this, big bro. Hey, do this, big bro. And after about 3 or 4 times, I noticed you didn't do anything I advised you to do. So finally, I very politely said, hey, man, stop asking me because you're wasting both of our time. Now, when somebody asks you for your input, they are not obligated to take it. When Sam, my big bro, asked me for my input, he is not obligated to take it. But because you have asked, I now feel as though I am an equal shareholder in this decision-making process, even though I am not. Worst thing the Cowboys can do is make Dak Prescott feel as though he is an equal shareholder in this decision-making process because he is not. So once he now offers the Cowboys advice and they don't take it, he will be offended, as opposed to if he didn't offer them the advice in the first place, now there's no offense taken because I was never a part of this and I never thought I was an equal shareholder. Do not give Dak Prescott personnel decisions because it will ruin the chemistry of the team.
Strong right there. And before that take, I used to say I was your brother from another. Now, since I know how you treat your brothers on air when they on air, we cousins from another. So what the hell wrong with you? Let me just say this. My wife is the same way as Sam. Exact same way. They think they already know the answer. Let me tell you what's really going on here. But they really just want to see if you agree with what they're already thinking. And when you say something that they don't agree with, they're going to do what they were going to do initially. Why I got to be a part of that process? But this is where we differ. I'm not fatigued. First of all, I'm married. 10 years married, so obviously I'm not fatigued of it. All I'm saying is, if you're going to do what you're going to do, just do it. And if you're Dak Prescott, if you're going to allow me to have the opportunity to speak on certain players, just let me do it. I'm not going to get fatigued of that. I'm not going to get tired of you're not going with the guy I want. Because if you ever been in a war room, and I told you this story before, but it's time to rehash it. I think I'm one of the very few players, it just feels this way because no one talks about these stories, that has been in the war room. And I've been in the war room where I saw the 2 draft boards. There's one draft board of all the prospects coming out of college. And you get to see them. You know, you're looking at this guy, Hutchinson, Michigan. You're like, oh, up high, right? And then I remember I was in San Diego, and I went to the other room, and there was another draft board. And all I got to see was P. Manning. And I was like, wait a minute, Peyton already in the league. Peyton is Peyton Manning. And I was like, and they were like, get out of here, Wiley, get out of here. Jokingly, but like, get your out of here, right? And I was like, what's that room? He was like, just in case things change with our roster. I was like, they ranking us right now, and they're going to say, go, good dog, good time at practice today. I was like, what the hell? Here's why I think Dak Prescott deserves his opportunity. If you ever been in that war room, they beef. The GM is not happy with the head coach all the time during those draft selections. The owner is sitting there like, I'm on this side, but you guys are going that way. We just seen this play out in Miami, it sounds like. They always have issues in terms of what your evaluation of a prospect is. If Dak's a big boy, if Dak's a grown man, let him in the room. But that doesn't mean he gets everything he wants.
I like it. But let me caution y'all. Let me tell you all a age-old tale of the NFL that should scare every quarterback, receiver, quarterback, running back combination. So, Donovan McNabb.
Ooh,
beast. Terrell Owens.
Beast.
But together they beefed. Why?
Do that again.
Now, I know Terrell, I know McNabb, you know McNabb.
I know.
Beef, one of the greatest NFL beasts still standing to this day.
Really?
Why? Because T.O., if you ask him, and as he said it before,
hit them sit up.
He was so upset that McNabb did not go to battle for Tim when it was time for a contract extension. But McNabb went to battle for Westbrook, the running back, when it was time for a contract extension. So T.O. was like, hey, McNabb, you the quarterback. You got say on this roster. Say something about me when it's time for me to get my bread. You said something about him. Because of that small rift, that small crack in a window that, as y'all know, when you have a crack in your window, expands, 2 of the greatest players at their position in the generation, one of the greatest of all time, still beefing 20 years later into their mid-40s because you decided to give Donovan McNabb power, input on personnel decisions. At least in theory you did. It completely ruined the chemistry of a Super Bowl team. Remember, y'all, Eagles was in the Super Bowl versus the Patriots. And after that, because of that beef, what happened to the Eagles? T.O. leaves, McNabb not really the same player, and next thing you know, that roster in the NFC East that was Super Bowl contending year in and year out evaporated into nothing. Why? Because of input on personnel decisions. Do not make that mistake. We have seen it backfire far too many times, Sel. Why would you allow it to backfire in Dallas?
Did you get your degree in psychology?
Master's Sports Psych, undergrad, Knies.
Perfect. Master's in Sports Psych. I'll give you 3 names and just rank them in terms of projected character.
Yes, sir. Projected. Yes, sir.
Projected, because, we don't know how these guys really are. Mental makeup, let's just call it.
Yes, sir.
Donovan McNabb.
Okay.
T.O. and Dak Prescott. What's your rankings? We already know what your rankings are.
What's interesting, I say Dak.
Oh, that's it. That's all I needed. I know Dak is not the same as T.O., my dog, and he ain't the same as McNabb, my dog. There's not enough oxygen in the room for McNabb and T.O. to both sit there comfortably and breathe. I've been in the room with them, and I got a big personality, but it gets suppressed because I'm like, let him go. And T.O. is more the quiet type, but his presence is speaking to everybody, so therefore he always got to deal with the interactions. McNabb, not only does he have that presence, but he actually engages and stirs it up. So it's like overboard, the cup runneth over, okay? Then there's Dak Prescott, who sits there. Hey, hi, nice meeting you. Professionalism at its finest. Like, Dak Prescott ain't the same mentally and has the same mental makeup as those guys. Why do I bring that up? Because in your example, you gave me good context, but you didn't give me the same character. or characters.
Okay.
So if T.O. and McNabb were in the war room on draft day, ooh, we don't need no damn receiver. No, we do need a receiver. Well, we don't need no quarterback. No, we actually need a quarterback and a receiver. Why y'all here? Y'all beefing already. You know what Dak Prescott would sit there and say if they said we need a quarterback? Yeah, it'd be good. You know, I have had some injuries of late. You know, let's bring them in here. And, you know, it'd be good to have somebody give me a little bump, a little edge. Completely different things, man. You gave me the right context, but the wrong character.
Let me give you this then. Let me keep it real with you. Come on. Dak Prescott not good enough to have input on personnel decisions.
That's what you wanted to say.
Period.
Just like your Acho, just like Sam,
Period.
You did it. You knew what you wanted to say from the beginning.
Dak Prescott not good enough to have personnel. He's been to 2 Pro Bowls in 6 years, big dog. He's not good enough to have input on personnel decisions. He got 1 playoff win. He's not good enough to have personnel decisions. He is not technically or tentatively tracking to be a Hall of Famer. He's not good enough to have personnel decisions. Tyron Smith, my left tackle, been here for a decade, several Pro Bowls, couple All-Pros. You can get personnel decisions. Zach Martin, been here for a decade, several Pro Bowls, All-Pros. You can get personnel decisions. Nobody else do I want to hear about input on the roster. I'm going to give y'all the story, then I'm going to give y'all the truth. Story. My senior year, University of Texas, third-team All-American, AP voted. We had to go to some freaking bowling event during our bowl game practices. Mac Brown wanted us to go to a team bonding event. Everybody on the roster looking at me like, hey, Acho, man, tell Coach we don't want to go to this bowl.
Yeah, you're the ambassador.
You do tell Coach we don't want to go to this bowling event. So I'm like, dang, I'm listening to all these other cats. I'm like, hey, Coach, we don't want to go to this bowling event, da-da-da-da-da. He called it off. Why? Because I had earned the right. I was good enough to have input on personnel decisions in college based upon how I played that season. I had earned the right to have personnel decisions. Some of them other young bucks, they hadn't earned the right to have input on personnel decisions. I'm simply saying Dak Prescott hasn't earned the right. Now let me give y'all the truth. I gave y'all the story. Now let me give y'all the truth. Why can't Dak have input on personnel decisions? Because a general manager and an owner might love you and cut you. They are not going to let their affinity for you dictate what they do in their decision-making. They might love you and in the same breath be like, you're not good enough to play on this team. Yeah. Teammates can't do that. Because if Dak was really to have decision-making power and they say, hey, Dak, what do you think we should do about Ezekiel Elliott, man? Like, what do you think we should do about Deke? You know, he's been declining every year for the last 5 years. He was injured last year. The year before, he wasn't injured. He led the league in fumbles. What do you think we should do about him? Realistically and non-biasedly, Dak should say, hey, see if you can trade him, see what you can get for him. Dak can't do that to Zeke, his brother, same draft class, first-round pick, fourth-round pick. Their jersey numbers combined for 214, the Dallas area code. Dak can't do that to his brother Zeke because Dak cannot be unbiased. So why would I want somebody biased to have input on personnel decisions? One more story as I close. Sale.
Get him, Sam Acho.
If you are dating an individual, big dog.
When?
And if you dating it, go back, big dog. Go
they use the past tense.
I said dating. If you dating.
Dating is actually.
Okay, you're right.
I went to school. I went to school.
You're right. You dated an individual, and while y'all dating,
especially while you snitching,
her best friend really wants her to be married, desperately. Has seen a bunch of bad dudes and just desperately
Is she married herself?
Her best friend is married as well. So she really wants her to be married as well. Okay. But you telling the best friend like, man, we going through some issues, going through some rough times. I think we should break up. The best friend is going to convince you all to stay together. Why? Not necessarily because you all should, but very simply, the best friend's opinion is tainted and the best friend is biased because that is the best friend. So why in God's name would you give the best friend input on personnel decisions when you know the best friend's opinion is biased and the best friend's opinion is tainted by nature of them being the best friend? Dak Prescott's input would be biased by nature of his relationships with the dude on the squad. Don't you dare get that man no input.
Okay, I'm going to say 2 names. Boy, you are funny. John Lynch and LeBron James. Both great players.
Sure.
One's a great GM, and let's just call the other one suspect, if not bad GM. Which one's the great GM?
John Lynch.
LeBron James leaves Cleveland. Teams up, big 3, Miami. Some would say that was an underachievement despite they won 2 or 4, right? But the GM, just the GM, LeBron, teamed up with Dwayne Wade, who all of a sudden start going on the decline, right? A little regression. And teamed up with Chris Bosh, who was a beast, but he had a forced, diminished role. Bad GM move right there. You went 2-4, so who can say anything about it? But a little bit of an underachievement if you look at that talent level. Okay. Going back to Cleveland, when he had a decision to make on a team that had Andrew Wiggins potentially drafted, and you decide to go with Kevin Love because you're thinking you got to go beat the Spurs. And then Golden State say, oh, you didn't pick that forward, you didn't pick that wing? Well, come and get that. Not Andrew Wiggins. Come and take these trophies from you. LeBron sniped them once, but Golden State went on some type of dynasty, right? All I'm saying is the threshold can't be how good a player you are. It can't be that. Dak Prescott is a good to great player. Wherever you want to put him, he's somewhere in there. He's a Pro Bowler, and the Dallas Cowboys found out how valuable he was in his absence. Look at that team without Dak Prescott. And look at that team with Dak Prescott and how much they paid him to show him how much they care and are invested in him. All I'm saying is right now, I don't want to use the threshold of Dak ain't good enough when Dak may have a perfect perspective and is good enough to even be invested in that heavily by the Dallas Cowboys. We'll see. I think Dak can handle the room, but obviously Acho.